Selected a 15th overall in the 2010 draft, he has played in 550 NHL games and has recently signed a one-year contract extension with the Canucks as he heads into his 11th season in the NHL. Derek Forbort is our guest today on the Canucks Insider podcast. And as I was doing that intro, there was some running kind of B-roll in the background, and I couldn't stop but find this in like our content folders. Derek, you give away a ton of pucks to fans. I like out of all the players, you were the guy who popped up the most, like giving away pucks to fans at pregame and stuff. So I'm curious where that comes from and why you kind of do that so often. Because like I was looking up like fans and looking up keywords, and your name just kept popping up in that regard.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was like kind of knowledge out there, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of remember being a kid and going to NHL games and like just like wishing so bad that someone would have thrown me a puck. And so just like whenever I see kids on the glass, it's just kind of something I always try and do. And there's kind of a little dead spot in my warm up between kind of when I'm going hard. So I just kind of take a little breather and try and get as many kids pucks as possible.
It must be pretty fun. Like I see the reaction of these kids. Like, do you ever notice it? Like some of these kids go nuts when you flip it over to them.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's kind of like a cool little reminder right before the game starts that, there are kids that, kind of look up to us. And, those are kind of the kids that we're out there, trying to play hard for and trying to get a win for. And, I don't know when it started, but it's just kind of something I do.
So, Derek, you began your NHL career in LA, kind of started working your way out east and had a couple different stops. So you made your way back to the West Coast. Tell me what you like about the West Coast and what kind of brought you back here.
I don't know if it was anything like specifically like geography wise, but I've always loved the West Coast. I was in LA for a bunch of years and loved the kind of the quiet beach life, and Vancouver has a lot of that kind of cool stuff too. So it's been a good place.
What was it like kind of moving to LA at like 20 years old there? Like that's got to be quite the big move for you to kind of take on that and start playing in the NHL. Like as a young guy, that must have been pretty cool kind of moving into LA and being 20 years old, being able to have some fun down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really fun city. The practice rink is down in like El Segundo, so we're a little bit like outside of the craziness of LA, and it's more kind of quiet, like beach community, a lot of volleyball, just like a lot of cool little bars and restaurants. So it wasn't as crazy as you'd think, but it was awesome.
That's cool. And before that, you end up going to the University of North Dakota. Just like, I don't know, when I say that, like I just think hockey school. So like, what was your experience like spending some time there and really being at like one of the best hockey schools in the nation?
It was great. You have like, it's probably the nicest rink in the world, probably the nicest gym in the world. And to kind of get free reign of like those facilities, and like you have a key card to the rink and you can go skate whenever you want, you can go work out whenever you want. And it's just like a really professional program, and did a lot to get me ready for professional hockey.
I have to imagine, like, was that a difficult decision for you, like being a Minnesota guy and UND? Like, I feel like not a lot of guys end up making that switch, but you were one of them that went to North Dakota. Like, what kind of drew you there, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, you're so young when you're making that big decision, and I mean that logo and that rink and the coaching staff was all kind of like a big kind of part of it. But I mean, it's not like it was a very easy decision. I was pretty torn between UMD, kind of my hometown team, and going to North Dakota. And I think in the end, I just figured it was a good idea to get a little further away from mom.
Does she like that?
No, she didn't.
I think what's cool too, like NCAA hockey, the way it's really evolving here of like bringing in all the guys from like the WHL and OHL and QMJHL. Like, what do you think the NCAA is going to look like in a couple of years? Like getting all these major junior guys now kind of filtering. It feels like it's going to change the landscape quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it'll help for sure. Like make it like some of those like smaller college teams, like make them a lot more competitive. Because just there's obviously going to be a bigger player pool of really good players, and it'll be interesting to see how it like shakes out. Like some older freshmen coming in, I think it's just going to make the product that much better.
That's cool. What was the favorite thing for you, like just playing wise, playing NCAA hockey? Like I'm sure like the home barn must have just been incredible to play it. But for you, like what do you kind of look back at from that time and think like, man, that was really cool to experience?
I loved like going to like the away schools and like just like seeing the passion in college hockey. And you know, we had like obviously a really like beautiful big rink, and sometimes it felt like a pro atmosphere. Like I mean, fans were unbelievable. But then when you kind of go to some of those like smaller old school barns with the crowd right on top of you, and those were kind of some of my favorite games.
That's cool, man. And then you end up making the jump, play some hockey down in Manchester in the AHL. What was the first kind of impression of pro hockey for you, especially after kind of coming out of NCAA? It feels like it's a good little kind of step on your way up to there, and then you get to the AHL. What were some things from those first few years that kind of like shocked you a little bit about jumping into pro hockey?
Uh, I mean, definitely all the promotions to get people to the games. I mean, my first day was it was bring your dog to the game night. And so that was like my first game in pro hockey, and I was kind of just like, where am I right now? But um, it's fun. It's like your first time, kind of you're living with like kind of other guys, and you're all in the same situation, and you're kind of in these like smaller towns. And we actually had some really good teams in Manchester. We won it all, and we had like a great group of guys, and um, it was a lot of fun. It's a really good league, and it really does a good job at getting you ready for the NHL.
Yeah, and it's happening right now with the Abbotsford team. Like obviously heading into the Western Conference Finals, they're up 3-1. Like for somebody who's kind of been there, done that, and gone on such a deep AHL playoff run, what's it like for a young guy? Because there's a lot of young guys out there in Abbotsford who like I don't know if you're just kind of in it, you're like so young and it's already happening, or like if you could now kind of look back and appreciate going on such a deep run with Manchester.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's so much fun. Like I remember, like in Manchester, like none of us even had our leases like past a certain point, so we were all like in a big hotel together, and like I mean, you're still like what like 20, 21, 22 like years old, so it's just like a big sleepover with your buddies, and you're playing hockey, and you're playing playoff hockey, and like once you get rolling, you're like, let's win this thing, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I texted Mancini, it's just like good luck in the semis there today, and sounds like they're playing really well.
Yeah, and he's ripping it up, man. So he's having a great playoff so far. Kind of for you, like let's talk about the contract extension here. You signed a 1 year deal with the Canucks, had a couple million here. You only spent 1 year here, but you kind of were ready to come back for a second. What kind of led you to make this kind of an easy decision, I guess, to be back here in Vancouver? Because I'm sure you would have had a lot of options kind of around the league if you went to free agency.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I kind of really wanted to come back for was just kind of the way we kind of battled like down the second half of the year. We were a team that had a lot of adversity, kind of a lot of crap happened, and I don't know. I felt like we just did a really good job of kind of sticking together and just battling for each other, and kind of formed a good little brotherhood like the second half of the year. And the thought of kind of coming back and competing for a full year with that group, and especially like the decor, we had such a really good mix of like kind of older guys and younger guys, and we all got along really well. And there's a real cohesiveness back there, especially with like footy, and it was just kind of fun battling with those guys. So that was kind of a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think kind of talking about defense core there, you guys had Marcus Pettersson late. You had some young players just kind of playing so well later on in the season there. Um, just your thoughts on this defense core moving forward here and what you kind of see your role fitting in here and just being a part of what I think is arguably one of the better defense cores in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and we've got like guys on like all and like Quinn Hughes is probably one of the best offensive guys in the league, and we've got some really good defensive guys. So it's a really good mixture of guys that have good roles, and feel like everyone kind of knows their role. And yeah, getting young Petey back there and Mance, and they were kind of fun guys to work with, and it was cool to see them kind of excelling and playing well. And um, yeah, just the chance to kind of be a part of that group was fun for me to think about.
So to kind of speak to that with the defense core that you guys have here, you add Marcus Pettersson to the group, and from the sounds of some of the guys I've talked to so far this offseason, like he added a lot to that room. Like, what did he kind of bring when he immediately got there? Like, did he have an immediate impact on kind of getting involved with the room? And what was he like to kind of just add to this defense core?
Yeah, he was great. He's such a good dude. He's a really funny guy, especially for a Swede. And yeah, he's just like kind of a good like glue guy. And he plays hard, and I mean, he's been on some really good teams in Pittsburgh and been around like guys with, I mean, obviously unbelievable leaders like Crosby and all those guys, and for us to get him and just kind of that experience, and it was huge for us for sure.
Does it take a while to understand these Swedes, like their humor? Because like I found it like it's like dry to a level that I don't think a lot of us understand certain times.
Yeah, I mean, they're no, I mean they're all great. We have just a good group of Swedes. Like Hagi's an idiot. Yeah, even Amer's really quiet, but he's funny. Um, yeah, even uh, Petey is like Petey's got some really dry humor and he's funny. So they're a good group.
I think a lot of Canucks fans wanted an update on just how your eye's been recovering. I know it's a tough scene for a lot of fans to watch, but how are you feeling? How's the recovery going during the offseason?
It's been good. Yeah, everything's all healed up. Um, just got a little scar and a little bit of droopiness, but I think it's starting to come back up.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know fans will be happy to hear that.
Yeah,
At least the recovery part, anyways.
yeah.
But um, I guess like let's move on to the penalty kill because like I found the stat that out of all defensemen who played over 100 minutes on the penalty kill, you had the least amount of goals against. So talk me through your secret to being the best defenseman on the penalty kill in the NHL last season.
Oh, well, if I knew for sure, I'd probably lead that category every year. But um, yeah, I think it wasn't. I mean, we just really got rolling with it, and everyone kind of was on the same page, and we knew what we wanted to. Because when you got four guys, you're gonna have to give up something, and we kind of knew what we wanted to give up, and what we wanted to take away. And when everyone's on the same page and in the right spots, and it frustrates the power play. And um, I mean, it had nothing to do with me. I'm sure I just got some bigger saves than other guys.
What's it like to kind of know? I guess like there has to be some confidence with the group, right? Like especially in that regard of like the penalty kill, how well you guys perform kind of from like February on. Like how do you kind of bring that into next season, or is it kind of just built through the year? Like is it possible to carry that over into next year? I assume it has to be to a degree, but how do you guys kind of do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a lot of the same guys who are kind of on those like forward kills and D kills they're all coming back. So I mean, if we can keep it going, that'll be huge. Yeah, and anytime it's such a confidence boost for the team when you can go out and get a kill. And it's for us, it's fun when we get out there and kill and we don't let them score and the boys kind of get rolling from it. So
So you mentioned you sent a text to Victor Mancini before kind of the HL playoffs running here with him and like DPD coming in, even Kirill getting a game late in the year. To see these young guys come in, like what's it like for you now that you're 10 years in the books for you in the NHL and you're still moving forward in your career? But now that you see these 20-year-old kids, like how cool is it for you to kind of be on the other end and be able to guide some of these guys in the league, as I'm sure some players did to you when you were a young player?
yeah, it's fun. I mean, I remember like when I was like in like training camps and like coming up, like I still do like some drills that like Robin Regier would always do, and Matt Green, and like you just kind of steal their stuff, and then I'll make like Mance or DPD do some drills with me after practice, and I'm sure they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it, just pass me the puck." And um, but yeah, it's fun to work with them, and they're such great kids, and they work really hard, and they're eager to learn, and it's kind of fun when you get guys with that attitude.
Dick, you seem like one of these guys who just like loves to be around the rink too. Like, I'm curious, what's your favorite part about just being around the guys and like whether it's working through practice or being on the road? Like, how much do you enjoy that part of the game of hockey, just being a hockey player? Like, I have a feeling you enjoy being around the boys quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I mean the best part is post practice sauna club. That's for sure. Um, we got a good group of guys that after practice we'll go hang in the sauna um, and then maybe grab some lunch after, and we do it after games sometime. And anytime you just get to hang with the boys, and especially as you get older, and it's going to be coming to an end soon, and um, you just want to take advantage of all those times.
So I wanted to ask about the new head coach coming in as well. Obviously, he's a guy who's been around with Adam Foote, but he takes over as head coach. What's the excitement level for you there? What do you think he's going to kind of bring to another level now that he's the head coach instead of kind of working with you guys on defense? He's taken over everything now. It's a lot on his plate, but what do you think is going to work so well with him coming in as the head coach next season?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good communicator. He does a really good job. Like when he'd run drills in practice, he did a great job with getting the energy up, and we knew what he wanted, and he loves high compete, and that's how he played, and that's what he expects out of us, and um, yeah, he'll be great. I know him and Talk, I'm sure, have pretty similar philosophies on like structure and stuff like that, but um, he'll definitely have us like competing in practice and going hard for sure.
That's awesome. Do you ever have to tell some of the young guys about like, I'm a similar age to you. I grew up watching footy when I was a kid, and I was like, this guy was one of the meanest dudes on the ice. Like, do you have to tell some
Yeah,
of the 20-year-olds about this guy a little bit or what?
yeah, I think we have to tell Footy that we can't cross check as much as he used to anymore. We'll get penalties for it, but um, no, I mean they figured it out pretty early on, and he would do such a good job at kind of taking guys one on one after practice and working on little things, and um, I mean you know pretty early like what he wants and how he wants you to play back there.
So Kevin Dean gets added to the staff as well, someone that you had in Boston. What's it like having a coach kind of come in and join here that you've had in the past? And what was it like working with him? I think it was the 2021-22 season. You had him as a coach there working with you on defense. What's it like to know that you got a friendly face kind of coming in here to join the group?
Yeah, it's great. He's an awesome guy. He's had a lot of good, I think he was in Chicago and working with a lot of young D, and I know he did a great job with some of their young guys, and we got some young guys here that he does a great job with too, and he's just a great human too. I mean, guys love playing for him, and yeah, he's awesome.
That's great to hear. Fans in Vancouver, what was it kind of like to get in here and see this market, kind of learn it for a year here? Like, what did you learn about Vancouver Canucks fans that you maybe didn't know in the past?
Uh, well, my first taste with Canucks fans was after I put Hoglander in a headlock a couple years ago. th- they were all up in my Instagram comments. So it's good to mend that fence, and they're awesome. You see people around, and everyone's just like so like enthusiastic about the team, and people care so much, and it's really fun to play in a market where people are that into it. And I don't know, it's great.
Yeah, well, that year all the Canadian teams played each other. Like, what was it like when you come back in the locker room to see Hoggy? You guys like, how do you guys gonna go through that? Because I'm curious. Like, I have no idea how he would react. I have no idea how you would react. What's it like when you guys like, hey, we're teammates now, man? Like, I don't know.
Well, it was even like it was even more. It was funnier when I got to know him and I realized like how big of a goof he is, and uh, even like after like that whole thing happened, we'd be at like the face-offs, and he'd just be like smiling. I'd be laughing. I'm like, who is this kid? Uh, but no, it's good. He's like he's a really funny guy, and me and him have a really good relationship, and we're always kind of making fun of each other, and we laugh about it all the time.
That's awesome. So for you now, heading into your 11th season, I'm curious how different your game has kind of changed. How you've like tried to evolve it from being a 20-year-old coming in, you're a 15th overall pick, high end, but you kind of have to adjust as you're playing, and you get 10 years in now. What are you kind of looking at evolving in your game now, kind of in your 11th season? That's kind of really changed from when you first came in here. Like, what are you really trying to kind of grow your game now in your 11th year as an NHL player?
I mean, I'd say some of the bigger stuff is more off ice. Kind of back then I think when I got drafted, I was like 198 pounds. And so you're all about bulking up and like trying to put on weight, and now it's just like it's trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to kind of, lean down and stay quick. And, it's just kind of funny how that works. And, um, it's a lot of kind of like injury prevention stuff and just trying to stay in really good shape. And, um, so yeah, off ice is huge. It's definitely more important now is like, to take care of the body and helps kind of keep their career going.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's interesting, I've never really like heard a player talk about this either, but like you go 15th overall in the draft, like when you're in that year and your draft is coming up, like was there a point where you're like, damn, like I think I'm going to be a first rounder here? Like, do you remember when you started like understanding like I'm going to be a 15th overall pick? Like, I'm curious if that ever hit you or if you like got surprised when you get called. Like, how did it all come about where you're like, I'm going to be a first round pick?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the year like leading up to it, like growing up in Duluth and Minnesota, you're pretty isolated from like the rest of the U.S. and Canada with like all their AAA stuff and like midget and all that stuff that they do, and Minnesota kind of stays in house and does their own thing. And so then my senior year when I went to the U.S. national team and I saw like some like pre-draft stuff, I was like, what? Like I had no clue I was even like in that discussion, and it was kind of a shock to me, to be honest with you. And um, but then like kind of once you start seeing everybody like drafting and you go to the combine and you talk to teams and your agent's telling you stuff, that's kind of when you start to get a feel for where you're gonna go.
Yeah, it's gotta be a pretty cool feeling, man. That's not something that a lot of people get to experience. That's pretty awesome. For yourself now, like, what's a personal goal? Do you set those at all? Like at this point in your career, have you kind of learned to that point, or do you set anything for yourself going into the season?
Uh, I'll never set like anything like stats wise. It's just that's just not what I do. But I always just like practice. Like I just like kind of one day at a time, try and get a little better every day. Just every day try and make the right choices for my body and um, just kind of little micro goals like that, but nothing stats wise.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but like the eagerness for this group to bounce back here, and you guys built a lot kind of in the later parts of the season. And we've kind of been talking to guys throughout the offseason here. It sounds like everybody's really on the same page of like how to run this back next year and really get back to the playoffs, be a playoff team. Where does that come from this group? And did it have to develop over the year last year to get there? Because obviously not making the playoffs last year, it's kind of led you guys to this point where it's like, man, we got to bounce back. Like we got to come back. What's it like for the group right now, kind of focusing on next year and making that bounce back a real possibility and something that actually happens here?
Yeah, I think something definitely kind of. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't easy to do. I mean, it was done through like some tough conversations and some tough meetings as a group and some tough video sessions on how we want to play and how we want to compete. And um, we came into the year with like clear goals of making the playoffs and doing something, and then uh, things kind of got off track. But I think we did a good job of kind of nipping some of that stuff from the bud and kind of getting the culture where it needs to be.
I think speaking of that culture, like a lot of it starts with the captain, and I think Canucks fans know what this guy's like what Quinn Hughes does on the ice. Everybody can see it. He's an incredible defenseman in this league. But just as a captain, like I think when you're a young guy in a Canadian market and all this pressure, how do you think he handled it? What does he do to this group, kind of in the room or just with the guys? Like as a captain, things that the fans don't really see a lot of. Right? Like what is it like having Quinn as a captain?
Oh, he's great. He's such a good dude, and I think like maybe you guys like you see him on the bench, and he's not like the most talkative, but like in the room, he's a fiery guy, and he's competitive, and he gets the boys ready to go, and he's got that swagger too. Like he goes out there and he knows he's the best player, and I think it kind of rubs off on the guys the way he competes, and um, yeah, he's awesome. He's a special player and a special guy.
What's it like for you guys on the bench when you watch him? Like some of these things he does at the blue line, like as you guys in the defense front are sitting together, like what's it like? Like how are you guys talking about the stuff that he's doing out there?
Oh, it's annoying. All you Canucks fans think it's that easy to do. It's like, but no, I mean, it's just like it makes no sense. He's like a point guard up there, and like, I mean, maybe like him and McCarr are the only ones in the league who can do that, and um, just how easy he makes it look, and he's got some special hips.
Who's the best storyteller in that locker room that you kind of came in, you get your first year? Who did you find? Like, who's the guy who can spin a good story in the locker room?
Oh, good story. Um, Teddy Bluger's got some good stories. He's a funny guy. Jake DeBrusque is the worst storyteller by far. He thinks he's his dad Louis, just talking all the time.
For you, like you obviously leave Vancouver during the summer and the off season here, but when you're here, like you get a lot of rainy days here at Vancouver, right? So I wonder if you can walk me through a Derek Forbort special on a rainy day. What's the thing that you do? Like walk me through a perfect rainy day in Vancouver, since we have a lot of those during the season.
Oh, I mean, I love the rain, so sign me up. I mean, usually like especially on a game day when it's raining, like it just like makes your pregame nap so much better. When it's really sunny, you're like, ah, shoot, I should probably be outside. But when it's raining, you're like, no, nap time. Uh, I don't know what I do. Like nothing too crazy. I mean, the season's so hectic as is. Like, um, Yeah, we've found some pretty cool restaurants. We've done we've met this guy who runs a sauna boat, so we've done that on a rainy day. Uh, yeah, I don't know. You can still enjoy the city when it's raining.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We'll finish up on this one here. I just wanted to get this out there because, like, I was talking about the show Survivor a lot, and I was like, if we were to put, if you guys all went on an island together, and you guys had to play the game Survivor, like, who do you think takes the cake there? Who wins this game Survivor? I don't know how aware you are of the game. I'm sure you know what Survivor is, but like, you guys were on the game show Survivor. Who do you think would walk away from that? Who's in that Canucks locker room?
Well, me and Jake DeBrusque are huge Survivor fans, so we break it down every week. Um, Jake always says if he got on Survivor, his first vote, he'd vote for Jeff just to confuse everyone, um, which would be epic. Who would throw the longest? I think Phil Hronik probably. Uh, he's just like, yeah, I could see him like catching like a wild boar and like just like eating it like no problem. He I think Phil Hronik would probably be number one.
Okay, because like you got to have alliances, you got to backstab someone. Is that Phil has all that you think going for him?
Yeah, and I think Phil would play a pretty straight up game. Like he would get his alliance and he would stick to it. I don't think there'd be much backstabbing there, and so it'd be like a pretty elementary game for him. But I think he could do it.
Who do you think would be like, since you know Survivor, I got to get into this then with you. Like, who do you think
Yeah.
would be one of like, you go in, who's a big threat that you got to get out first? Like, who would the guys be together? Like, this guy's too much of a threat. Is it Phil? Like, would you guys have to, like, is everyone on the same page thinking you'd win? Who would you think would be one of the first people voted out because they're a threat?
Oh, I mean, I would try and get Hoggy out for sure right away, just because I wouldn't trust him. I know he'd still be a little mad. I put him in a headlock a couple years ago, and he'd be coming for me. So he'd be my number one guy to get out. And then as far as like a physical threat, uh, God, who we got? I mean, Kiefer Sherwood. He's an animal in the gym. Maybe him. Uh, you can't. He'd probably win a bunch of challenges. So probably him or Hoggy.
Okay, so I feel like you and Jake must have like a target on your back being the Survivor guys too. So like, I don't know, it'd be fun. It'll never happen, but it'd be an incredible thing to do.
It would be epic.
Derek, appreciate you taking some time, man. This is really appreciated, and congrats on the 1 year extension. We're excited to see you for another year as a Vancouver Canuck.
Yeah, thanks for having me.